Sketching while traveling sounds beautiful, right? But the reality is often messy, rushed, and far from perfect. In this video, I'm going to flip through my travel sketchbook from our last summer trip to the US. And I'm gonna show you what worked, what didn't, and what I learned along the way. Hi, my name is Monica. I'm an artist and illustrator, and I love using sketchbooks to capture moments while traveling. I made this sketchbook myself. I have used watercolor paper and I designed the cover. I printed out on fabric and then I put everything together. I binded the pages together because I want a specific size for this travel sketchbook, but you can buy any sketchbook online in our shops. So this is the first pages of the sketchbook. So usually we don't know what to do on the first page, first spread. So I decided to sketch all the materials and tools that I was going to take with me. I think it is a nice way to start a sketchbook if you are unsure what to draw and sketch on the first page. Then the first spread of the trip was this one. So I wasn't sure yet how I was going to work the space of the spread of the sketchbook. So I was still deciding. And so I started with the small sketches of us, me here inside the airplane. And then when we got in New York, was the end of the day, we went to visit Times Square. So I decided to use this little corner here to draw Times Square, to sketch Times Square. And then I did just, very fast with some shapes, very simple shapes, as you can see. And then I put color to show, the lights, and then I put the dark background here to show that was night. So it's very simple sketch and very fast to do. And then I put some lines here to show that, because there was a lot of people there, and that's it. You don't need to sketch anybody, if you're afraid to sketch people, and you just do some lines to represent people, and that's it. And I still had space enough to put all the information about the trip and everything, what we ate during the flight. But you can put whatever you want. You can write down whatever you want to remember. And then I decided to continue like this, more or less the same layout, using one bigger sketch and then smaller ones to fill the whole spread, the 2 pages. And so this one, you can see this, that the Grand Central Terminal inside was very beautiful. It was a very fast sketch here. The perspective is not spot on, but it's still, you can still see how big and grand the terminal is. I try to put some little dots here, and just to represent people all the way down there. And yeah, that's it. And then I put all the other sketches around the spread. It's quite fast. I didn't put much colors, as you can see, just add colors here and a little bit here. I didn't put much color at all. And then the next spread, well, this spread is not the best, I have to say, because here I have 2 sketches the same size practically, and they are both on the top, and I have not much color here. So to balance out this, next time I'll think better how to put the sketches in a way that it creates a little bit more of balance. So this I could put down here instead, and or vice versa, and or add more colors here on this, and so it can balance out. And this also was very fast sketch, and I wanted just to show what was going on that day outside. Here is, in this one here is a little bit better than the others one. I think I I think what I did here, this is what I did a sketch very fast. So I left in pencil, I didn't outline in ink because I did this sketch of the building here and then another one here. So I didn't want to add more color here. I only put the colors of the greenery because Highline is a garden, so there's lots of greenery. So I put greenery here, here, and here, so to create this movement of color on the spread. But I didn't want to this part here to be fighting with this too. So I decided not to add color on the buildings here, or not even ink the outline, and I think it works quite well. I like this spread. Okay, on this spread, I think it turns out more of an illustrative spread than a sketch because I add a lot of details here on the birds. This was inside the Museum of Natural History, and when we sat down at the Birds Gallery, I sketched this too, but then added the colors later on. And then when I was adding the colors, I started adding a lot of details because I want to show the feathers and the details of the birds. So it ended up more of illustrative than illustration than a sketch, but I still love it. But the thing is, both pages here on this spread, they are not in harmony, and because they are fighting to see which one, gets the most attention. But if this page was alone, or if I had sketched more things from the museum on this page here, would be better. So I think that's something that we have always to think about when we are sketching. So we have to create this balance and make the things that goes together on the whole spread. But I still like it. This one was in the end of our visit at the museum. We sat down at the exploration atrium. These are steps that go all the way down. Lots of people were sitting here, and that was the time that we sat, relaxed, enjoy, all the people and observing, and I took the time to sketch this part, which is quite nice. Let me bring it closer so you can see it, the details of the building. It's quite nice. So in this aspect, it's a lot of going on here because this is another building, has nothing to do with the museum. This is about the New York fire escapes, which I wanted to sketch there. So, and I did here on the corner. Like I said, too much going on a spread, and they are not correlated. So I think we have to focus in one theme or one space and then put all together on the same spread. This next one, there's a lot of text because we didn't go out much on that day because we were not feeling well. So, and then the next day when we went to walk the Brooklyn Bridge, we walk all the way from Manhattan to Brooklyn. The other side, I sat down and I sketched this, but I didn't put any color. I decided just to leave in ink, which I like it, and that's why I decided not to add color, but I could add color later on if I want to. Now this one, I like this spread because I put a watercolor sketch on one page showing the Guggenheim Museum, and the other side some smaller sketches. That was all in the same day that happened. We went to many different places, so that's why they are all together. And but I still like it because I have some sketches with no color, others has color in it, and I think it creates some kind of balance in a way. And yeah, I like it. This one is unfinished spread, because here is all in pencil yet. This was the day we went to Central Park to see Bethesda fountain and terrace. And while sitting there, I sketched the fountain, but I decided not to finish. And I only finished this one, not finished, but I just put some color on the arches because I want to show the colors of the tiles and the details they have on the arch. And inside the terrace also, I didn't finish, just in pencil. But I think it's okay to have some unfinished things on your sketch as well. So this spread, I really like this because it shows the brownstones. I really wanted to sketch those houses. These were in front of the hotel we're staying, and I was able to capture some of the buildings, and I put some color, but not much, very natural because of the colors of the building. And then I capture, the about an hour or two we spent at Central Park, looking around, observing, walking, and see all the people on that day. And yeah, I think the layout is quite nice because we have colors here, here, here. There is some nice, no, just a sketch here of the door that I did add color, but that's fine. And yeah, I think it's quite well balanced as well. I put lots of words here that, show what was going on that day, what we're seeing. Now, this one is one of those sketches that end up not working at all. And this one wasn't in New York anymore. We already have left New York. We're in Worcester, Massachusetts. And that day we were spent close to the lake, and I decided to sketch, the lake and the other side of the lake, the houses that were there. But then I overworked the colors, and I put too much color. What I wanted to show here was the blue sky that was very clear, very beautiful. But I start working with adding colors and colors, and then when I say, oh, okay, now is what's done is done. There's no else we can do about it. I couldn't change anything, so I just decided to leave it and not do anything else. So not even put color here. I know I can add some colors here to create a balance, but I decided just to leave it. But this is the kind of spread that it doesn't work, but I still have good memories from that time that we spent on the lake. Now, this one is another busy spread. There's a lot of going on. The day went to Plymouth, to the Mayflower, and I sketched the ship, and then I sketched the street outside. But the problem here is, again, too much here, too big sketches, and too much colors here. There's no color down here, although I put color, lots of color here. This was a mistake that I made, so I tried to fix the mistake. So that's why there's a lot of color here, but that's okay, because what is worth here is that the moment that we spend there and how we enjoy what we saw and everything that was worth it to capture here on the spread. Now, this is a good example of a spread that I like it. There's kind of a great balance because this was the day we spent in Vermont exploring the covered bridges, and I try to capture a few of them, and I put on this spread the layout, creating a nice balance with the big one here, and then this other smaller here with the name of the bridges and some information, but there's lots of empty space, which is kind of a nice to balance out everything. And this one, actually everything here is fighting with each other. There is no focal point because there is no one sketch that is large enough to stand out and the others be like complementaries. So yes, when you were doing a spread, a layout of a spread, you always have to think about which sketch is going to be the largest one, the biggest one, that is going to be the main, gets the main attention on the layout. So in this case, probably if I had sketched the house a little bit bigger, or maybe the farm, got the focus on the farm, and I don't know, something could could have done better if I had focused on one building, or something that could be the focus of the spread. Now, this one, the problem here, they are quite nice. I like the way that this is in the White Mountains, the scenic route we took, and this quite nice, and this one too, but both of them has color on top and no colors on the bottom. Again, is another mistake that I made it. I keep doing them. So next time probably I have to think about better where to put. This one I could have, you know, sketched here, down here with the color, or I could leave this without color and put color on this too, so to create the balance here of the colors. But it's still quite nice, and I like the way I left this down here, which is a river with loads of big stones, and I decided to leave in pencil because of the texture and the shadows that I created with the pencil. So some sketches are better to leave in pencil. This looks a little bit unfinished because I didn't put any color here, but it's quite nice, the colors that I add on the houses. There's a lots of words and letterings, and I like the way that I like to use letters. I like to use those leave space for text. That's why I like to leave space for text, because texts are important to add on the spread, because you add where's the place, the day we were there, and maybe a little bit of history of the building or something. You can add to the page, so you know what was going on that day and what you were seeing. Now this one I like this one too. I think there's nice balance. This was a retro diner where we went to have some lunch. And yeah, I sketched some people here on the counter. We were sitting at the booth, and we had this view of the counter. And I put some color, not in everything, because I wanted to highlight the red that has around the diner. And maybe I could add a little bit more of color here where the food is, because there is no color. So you create a little, it can be finished in a better way if I add a little bit of color here. This one from Boston is really nice. I like it because I put the map here. We went there just to walk the Freedom Trail, which is about everything about the declaration of independence, the thing that's happened before and after. And yes, we walked the trail, not the full trail, because the trails go on, cross the bridge and go to the other side, but we stopped here at the Paul Reverie House. And so we walk all this area here, and it was quite nice. And then we had some lunch. We tried a lobster roll, crab roll, shrimp roll. There's lots of roll with seafood, so we try all of them. And but the balance here is quite nice because I had some colors, but the color is not too strong. I kept it very light, and I left a few elements just in ink, like the Benjamin Franklin statue. I just left in ink, and also here then I didn't put ink on the name, on the lettering of Boston. So I create a little bit of balance in that, and I like it. And then there's lots of other spreads that didn't quite finished, but I think I still can't finish there. If I want, I can add colors and everything. This one's the day the restaurant eating, and the guy was preparing the food. It was a Japanese restaurant. He was preparing the food in front of us, so it was nice to sketch this. And then was a day that we went out for shopping. And I put just some names of the shops we went to. And this was the day we went to Cape Cod on the beach. So I put a whole scene here on this page, all in watercolor. I didn't add any ink here, no outlining ink, just watercolor, because I want something soft, but at the same time it showed the warmth of that day, how the sunshine was bright. You can see through the shadows that I add here on the ground. But then I add some details on the opposite page with some small sketches. I even put the map of Cape Cod here, which is quite nice. So I'm always trying to balance out a page. So when I start, usually I look for one main subject that I'm going to have on the spread, and then I add smaller elements around it and leave space for text, because I think that's very important to leave space for text. The next one is much better. If you look into the first spread and now this, they are a lot better. The composition, the layout, because I add here, we went to Mystic in Connecticut, and we went there because we want to see the Mystic Pizza, where Julia Roberts filmed the Mystic Pizza movie in the 80s. And yeah, so I sketched the building, and then we went around town and did some other sketches of the other buildings, the bridge they have there. We sat down and saw the bridge going up and down so the ships can pass through. It was quite nice. So this creates a little bit of balance. I would say that all the sketches are in the same size practically, but I still got a very nice balance because there's a lots of empty space, just a few words, and that's it. I think that's what works quite well on this is sketch, even that it doesn't have one main subject, although I would consider this as my main subject because that's the thing that we went to see that day. And yeah, so I think it worked quite well like that. I kept the colors very soft, not strong colors, but there is repetition of the colors throughout the spread. Here again, the same. I try to keep it very light and minimal. I didn't want to put too much information. Like in the beginning of the sketchbook, I was trying to write too many things and put too much information. I think less is more, and this I can see that a lot, when you use a lot less, is so much better because they are not fighting each other here. And here the main subject would be the playhouse, even though it's not very big. But also I like the main street here. Well, actually, it's not the main street. I think it's Elm Street. The main street is another street on the town, but it was quite nice. And I put some colors around it and left also some sketch without color, like here on the umbrella, the parasols, and the chairs and table. Then here again, a lot less information. This one I still have still in pen, so I didn't write down. This is just about the last night that we spent in New York, and before the next day we are flying back to UK. So we went to the restaurant and I decided to sketch the hotel here, but I didn't add color. I can still add some colors. And then the last day in New York, we spent in the morning, not the morning, whole morning, just a couple of hours in Chinatown, going around, take some pictures, and then we spent the afternoon in Coney Island before we head to the airport. But I didn't finish. As you can see, they're still in pencil, no colors, and yeah, probably I will add that. The last page is a sketch that I decided to do based on a picture that I took when we were on top of the Rockefeller Center, and there's a view with the Empire State, and I decided to merge two pictures together because the other one there was my daughter, but she was in a different view of the top there. But I decided to put her here on this view with the Empire States. But I didn't finish. I'm gonna finish that. And I left the last page blank so I can write down a few things that I want to remember from the whole trip. One thing I learned on this trip is how important layout is. I usually think in terms of one main subject, one main sketch, and a few smaller elements. And then I have the space for text, so I can add some notes to the sketches. If I try to fill the whole page like I did in the beginning of the sketchbook, it often becomes overwhelming and very busy. So I strongly recommend that you leave blank space for words, for text. Just simple notes. Doesn't have to be too many words like I did in the beginning of my sketchbook. It could be just where you were, what you noticed, how you felt, because these small details bring the page back to life later on when you are revisiting the sketchbook and trying to remember everything that you went through on that day. Sketching while traveling is not always calm or ideal, and sometimes you don't have time. Things are moving, people are moving, but when you look back at your sketchbook, you're not seeing perfect drawings, but you are seeing the journey. The journey. So when I look to my sketchbook, I see the journey that we took from the beginning all the way to the end, and that's what matters. That feels personal and meaningful. If you would like to learn how to build your own travel sketchbook step by step, I'm creating a course where I guide you through the whole process from first sketches to full spreads like this one. There's a link on the description where you can join the wait list and my newsletter so you can be notified when the course is online and live. If you enjoyed this video, let me know, and I would love to hear if you keep a sketchbook when you travel or a urban sketchbook for your daily moments. See you next time. Bye.